Okay, so this is our auto battler. There are three main sections: the data and enums, the game logic, and the actual game. The data and enums is where the data for the game is located. You will see that there are two classes that the data can take form of, and in the unit data dictionary, you will see that there is plenty of data for different units. This currently we are perusing the tank class. The first individual is Mud Spirit. It has decent stats for a tier 1 shop 1 individual. Its ability is Hardened Mud, and its description contains the start trigger. The start trigger determines where, or rather when, this ability is launched. If instead of start it was round, then this number, the R&D number, will be used to determine which round this ability gain spec or gain 8. It's based on the spec attribute. Gain 8 HP for each teammate. Another example would be Baby Rock, which is a heal self user. Its description has David or round. As you can see, round happens every 3 rounds. So this wouldn't trigger at 12. Well, it would trigger at 12, but it wouldn't trigger at 11. And this unit has the David ability, which is found in triggers, the triggers, which states that if this unit's tier is less than the target tier, i.e. the enemy it is attacking, then it will heal. The trigger description goes into detail. Triggers when unit's tier is lower than the target. Each unit has its own ability. Some repeat abilities, but do not repeat special points, right? Spec. Some do not repeat triggers, right? So Paladin is another heal self, but it goes every round instead of every round. Or the or prefix states that either David causes it to trigger or round causes it to trigger. But if this or was removed, then it must be conditions both David and round must trigger in order for this ability to activate. Paladin in a sense is a lot more free. It's a lot stronger in exchange for less chances for its ability to trigger. Now, this is the actual class unit. It has 4 methods, 4 functions. The most important is the initiation, which starts with the stats block. It looks up the specific stats, the role, the unit name. If this unfolds, you will see that the default stats is like HP, attack. These are the default stats just in case something goes wrong and you can't find these stats here. There are certain attributes that aren't found in these stats, and they're just as important, right? Like the unit automatically starts with level 1, but sometimes they start with level 2 or level 3 or level 4. That goes into the shop. That is something we'll talk about later. The attack, this method determines what happens when a unit tries to attack another unit. It's self-contained, it's short. It also it's just a lot better than having this also determine the targeting, like how does targeting work out. Targeting is being handled by another class, and that is the most important class, the Auto Battler class. The Auto Battler class, this seems deceptively short, but in actuality it's huge, has 2 main methods. The Run Battle function, which is where the attack function is being used, and the Open Shop function. We will talk about the sub-functions later. The Open Shop is the first function you will encounter, because at the start of the game, you will be at a shop. There is a plethora of choices, as you can see here. Besides buying units, you can sell your own units by pressing the Sell function, and you'll see the Sell Shop here. You can lock your units, as you can see in the L. You can upgrade the shop. You can restock the shop, and you can open the info shop, which will tell you what the triggers do. For the most part, the main function is this here, in which you will be given information about the units that you are buying, and then you can confirm yes or no if you want to buy that unit. As you can see, some of the sub-functions are being used here. Buy unit and team up. Again, this will be discussed later. The Run Battle function is also very important, as it actually runs the battles. It actually starts the game. So first you go to Open Shop, right? You start with Open Shop, and then you run a battle after you exit the shop. It starts with the it's this right here. Wait, where? This right here is the actual meat and bones of the method. It starts with a turn order that is handled by another sub function. It takes the player team and the enemy team, it adds it all in one list, and then it sorts that list based on who has the highest speed stat. Then, after it sorts the list, it determines if the attacker is first. If the attacker is right up, and after it decides what the attacker is, it decides who the target is, it decides who's the ally, if the target is living, if the allies are living, and then it triggers the attack function. It triggers the ability function, right, with this line of code. It determines whether the abilities can trigger in the situation, or if it cannot trigger. And after it determines whether the ability triggers are being met, and if the ability exists, then it uses the ability function. The round count. Most games, it starts with 1 round, and then after all of this is done, after all of this, the turn order, the attacking, I'm sure the attacker function is being released here. I can't check right now, but the attack function is happening. And after all of that is said and done, yeah, here, right, in the else function, if the ability cannot be triggered, then the attacker attacks target. Yes. After that is being done, the round count goes up, and when the round count goes up, this whole thing starts again, right? And it keeps going until one of the sides, one of the teams, is dead. And if it goes too long, right, for like 100 rounds, you automatically lose the game. These seem very small in comparison, so you're like, where do all of these lines come from? Where do all of the code come from if these are so small? Well, it comes from the sub-functions. The sub-functions, there's a lot of them. they're not even unfolded, and they already take up like the entire screen. I'm not gonna open all of them. I'm gonna open some. Spawn single. It spawns a single unit, and then spawn team uses that spawn single to spawn multiple spawn singles. It also assigns the team it assigns the team. Are you the player? Are you the enemy? Are you the mini boss? Are you the boss? This is the sell shop function from earlier. The reason a lot of this code is huge is mostly because, just like the sell shop function, it operates the same way as buying a unit, where I just like copy and pasted the first onto the second, and by copy and pasting it, it inflates the number count. So yeah, all of these get triggered. This is speed sort, right? As I described, they put it all in a list, and then it sorts it by the speed. Reverse true, i.e. the fastest goes first, and then this is the actual game. The actual game, you assign auto battler to a variable, and then you assign the actual functions like spawning the team or running the battle to a variable, and then after you start the game, you spawn the player team, and then while player is alive, while this game is active, after the game intro, while this game is active, you start running the game. The player goes to the shop, right? It opens the shop, and the enemies are spawned based on the wins, right? They start off with a few wins. They start off pretty low leveled, but every like 5 or so games, every set amount of games, they get stronger and stronger. Basic auto battler situation, and after like 30 wins, after you beat the final boss, you win the game, which, as far as I know, is impossible because the game is pretty poorly balanced. But yeah, that is the auto battler game. I'm sure I will have footage of it actually being played. But yeah, that is the main gist of the auto battler game.